Farmers are a resilient lot. They're practical, they're inventive. If a fence is down, they'll fix it with the branch of a tree and the elastic from their underpants. If a cow is stuck in the mud, they're likely to pull it out with a bootlace and a tyre lever. They'll put up with dust, heat, flies. But what can you possibly do with dead stock, no water, zero income and mounting debt?
Lower the curtain down Memphis.
With the country in the grips of one of the worst droughts on record, the rest of Australia has been left feeling somewhat helpless. But you can help. Travel to these regions, stay with them, spend with them. For those who can't make it, there is another option.
I think the impact of this drought is probably beyond what most people have ever lived through. And
Meet Grace Brennan, the founder of Buy from the Bush, an online platform promoting buying regional and breathing life into struggling businesses affected by drought.
It's so often that image of a man in a bare paddock.
Yeah.
And to me, the drought is so much more than that. It's kind of empty shop fronts and people in, you know, small businesses really being affected, and women at kitchen tables very stressed about debt and about, you know, the psychological impacts.
Farmers themselves have been forced to diversify.
It is definitely about diversification and also just supporting small business that usually relies on agricultural cash flow, and that dried up quite some time ago. So it's about accessing new markets and bringing in new money and new energy and hope.
Central West New South Wales is one of many areas affected by the drought. Ruth and Angus Young from Dubbo have been lovingly handcrafting kids' farm boards for almost 30 years. But the loss of orders due to drought almost spelt the demise of the business.
Before we got onto Buy from the Bush website, we only had about 8 on order for Christmas. And I said, right, you know, this is not happening for us this year because of the drought. And we were going to have a shutdown. And then the program came along and, yeah, it just... Last year it was probably one of the busiest years that we've had.
How do you choose who's worthy of being part of this?
I know it's hard because there's no shortage of talent, but it's just I use my gut instinct on what is engaging and appealing to city audiences, or to broad audiences, I should say, as well as we rely on the government drought maps to know which businesses are in drought-affected communities, and we just try and cover a range of price points and a range of geographies, and trying to kind of tell a broad, or give a broad picture of what rural communities look like in, you know, this modern day.
Country communities are bursting with creative folk like Tanya and Justin Lampy, who run a giftware shop in the small town of Molong. For many years, they ran a thriving fencing business in town, but the impact of drought forced them to shut up shop and led Justin to diversify from fencing to making metal art sculptures.
So I imagine you hit rock bottom.
Rock bottom, 100%.
And are things better?
Things are so much better. We made lemonade from lemons. Justin used to love fencing, love his work, love what he did, but he said he had no idea that he didn't love his work, because now he's excited, he's pumped. At the table, our kids say, what about making this, Dad? He's teaching our kids to make things. Yeah, and now we're all so much happier.
Using machinery from his old business and drawing inspiration from nature and everyday life, Justin has managed to turn his hobby into an exciting new career.
I really love the praying for rain, the rain gauge. What's the story behind that?
So that's actually when we were closing our fencing business. Justin and I were very upset, and Justin said his late father would even be on his knees praying for rain. Justin got up the next morning and had sketched his father, transferred it to metal, and it's actually a silhouette of his dad. So Praying Jack was born.
Further south in Orange, Angus Barrett launched his saddlery business almost 20 years ago and says times are about as tough as they've ever been. While it's hard to gauge how the Buy from the Bush campaign has converted to sales, he says the awareness it has brought about has been priceless.
I feel there's a lot of considered shopping coming from people in city areas that are looking outside, combined with the fact that we're Australian manufacturers, so it's a little bit, hopefully it's a really good feeling for someone who can buy something from us that's made in Australia, by Australians in a regional area.
Can't wait till